Hi all, I have another amazing game of Leela Chess to show you. This is against Wasp 3.30. So this is in the Chess.com Blitz Cup 2018, 5 minutes with a 2-second increment. D4 from Leela. We see knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3. We enter the Ragozin variation. So it's a kind of hybrid between the Queens Gambit declined and the Nimzo Indian. Bishop g5. Black castles, e3, knight bd7, c takes, e takes, bishop d3. Now we see c5, Leela castles, bishop takes c3. So volunteering the dark square bishop. In chess-based live book, queen a5 is also a move, it seems. Queen c2, for example, this position has been seen a bit before, and it's thought to be about even. Maybe that is in some ways safer not to give up the bishop voluntarily here with bishop takes c3. So queen a5, interesting alternative. B takes, and now releasing the central tension with c4. The bishop goes to f5 here. This is a very, very interesting concept, to give up potentially the light square bishop to exert more pressure on the dark squares, which we've seen time and time again now in Leela games. So not being too clingy to the bishop pair, being prepared to give up a bishop to get pressure on the other colour of the bishop. So here, an alternative bishop c2 does seem to also run into queen a5, which is a bit annoying. This has been seen before in some high-level chess-based live book games, with offering the c3 pawn here. For example, this position. And now queen b1 hitting h7, and say knight f6. This is you might think this is weird to play knight f6, but the thing is, the queen is a little bit in danger here. If g6, then bishop e7. This is known to be very good for white. For example, here bishop b4, and the queen is trapped. So let's say knight f6 here, then a4, for example, queen a5, and then taking this position is about even. Actually, it's nothing really that bad for black here. It's actually dynamically balanced, it seems. So bishop c2 is very, very interesting. Offering the c3 as a gambit, but maybe this is a better continuation. Bishop f5. So queen a5 here, queen c2, so the queen naturally protects the c3 pawn here. Rook e8, knight d2, and there's a very clear plan emerging. After g6, yes, volunteering the light square bishop. Will we get dark square pressure here? Clearly not. Bishop takes d7 because bishop takes f6. So f3, and you might think, is this even possible? What about this pressure down the e file? You might think, isn't this bishop the only one protecting e3? And you might tactically think, hold on, if this was a club game and I was playing black, would I be able to get away with f6 here to nudge the bishop away from e3? And actually, I checked this out. This is a very, very interesting continuation. Bishop f4, let's say g5 to try and nudge the bishop away from e3. The problem is, revealed here, there's a key move in this position, queen f5, and it seems white is much better in all the variations. In fact, that pawn's pinned, so there looks to be an immediate knight takes c4 potentially on the cards, forking queen and rook here. So what does black actually do in this position? If the knight moves, then f6 could drop as well. So let's say queen takes c3. This is just fascinating. Check. And then here, and white ends up with a massive position. So yeah, it's huge punishment for f6. Let's look at this again, and g5. Huge punishment, just casually letting e3 drop here after this position. If rook takes c3, then white takes that e file with massive effect, with gigantic dangers like rook e7. So say knight here to kick the queen away. Well, the queen takes on f6, and rook e8. It's a disaster. Knight e4 is a really nifty move to maximize the pressure on f8 potentially. So, or even worse, so shielding the e8, just bishop e5 here, threatening mate on g7. So absolute carnage could result to try and tactically punish this f3 move. It's really nifty stuff behind the scenes based on e3, basically. Stuff to be aware of. It makes the whole plan more effective if white knows that there's an e4 break that's possible here in this position. It's incredible. It changes probably the evaluation of these positions to favour much more bishop f5, the whole concept of bishop f5 taking d7. So knight b6 is played, rook a e1, and now, yeah, it seems this is a very Botvinnik style plan to play for e4, e5. Bishop d7, but now h4 actually. This has undermining properties for h5 potentially. Bishop a4, queen c1. Bishop b5 being annoying actually, because now the a2 pawn is attacked. The bishop was just dragging the queen away from protecting a2. And Leela doesn't really care about a2, just plays e4. So is this going to be good to take on a2? If queen c2, this position actually might be okay for white anyway. This scenario, for example, is even, but yeah, that will probably be the best thing to actually play f6 here. If rook e6, then white actually might actually be getting an advantage in these lines, potentially. So, for example, like this, with an advantage. But anyway, e4 just offering a2. Queen takes e5. So there's a nice central pawn wedge, an attacking pawn wedge. Bishop a4 as if to try and get the queen to c2 to get the queens off. Rook f2, queen c2, and now queen a1 getting out of the way and still holding c3 from there. So f2 is holding the knight, the bishop's holding the knight as well. Queen f5, knight f1, the queen's going to be kicked away from blockading. You can see a useful point of h4 here, holding the bishop from earlier. So it seems as though this is now white's making progress now on the king side. Bishop d7, g4. Very impressive pawn play, giving lots of possibilities now for the rooks to switch to G or H files. Queen A5, and this position was already so strong, really strong position already. Queen C1 may be one of the most incisive moves. It has ideas like Bishop F6 sometimes and Queen H6 if on the knight moving, but also it turns out here that even a move like F4 is already a winning position, it seems, in the variations. For example, taking here, just carrying on with f5, this is just devastating stuff. This kind of scenario is absolute devastation. You might think, well, why did black give up d5 there? Because the knight's coming in to g4 and visiting the dark squares with deadly effect. That f-file is absolutely crushing. So even it's so strong, this position, that even f4 here appears to be winning already. This is at move 26. So move 26, queen c1 though, rook e6, f4 now is because the bishop and queen are no longer, even hitting this pawn on this diagonal. It's been blunted by that rook there. So okay, we have rook c6, f5, yeah, a4. This looks like, is this going to be a distraction? In fact, the queen is eyeing a3 and also attacking possibilities of h6 sometimes when the bishop moves. And in fact, after h5, this is just a panicky move. This pawn is not going anywhere. Rook e2. The rooks provide a nice battery against this pawn moving. So we see queen e8, and in fact the pawn can be rounded up here at leisure with rook a2 now. It's on a dark square. It seems very difficult to actually defend this now. Rook a6 was played, giving up the pawn. If queen f8, the problem is it's let's have a look at queen f8 for a moment. It's on the f file. You can see that there's an f file here. So hg, this is dangerous, hg. And in fact, okay, there's a rook guarding g6. So in fact, rook h2 here now. and f6 is crushing with that form pawn in this variation. The queen's just like checkmating. Basically, that would be pretty desperate. So it's all very, very dangerous stuff to try and hold on to this a3 pawn here. So instead, it's just given up after hg. That pawn is now taken, and white's still got this massive attack now. It's just equalized on pawns and looking forward to devastation on the king side. h6, it turns out here, this is really a token tactic. It looks as though this is some sort of clever, resourceful tactic. In fact, you know, with the bishop loose on h6, in fact, it might be the case that simply taking on h6 is the strongest move. Now, Leela played a very attractive move, f6, in its own right, to play f7, ignoring the bishop being attacked. It turns out, this is a remarkable thing about this, it's such a crushing position that there are variations with bishop takes h6, just allowing this bishop to be sacrificed. So after g takes and then knight g4, it's the variations are crushing. Check out the pinned comment for the variations here. So if the rook moves, there's knight f6 check, for example, forking queen and rook, and yeah, it's all the variations seem to be very, very good. Here you can take and then e6. Just check it out. It's just bishop takes h6 is absolutely winning as well, but f6 was played, and yeah, it's on the brink of it's totally busted, black's position. Black plays hg, decides that's the best thing, to give up the queen for rook and bishop, but it might be okay if black can set up a fortress. However, black is put under immense pressure now with queen a7, forcing the bishop back to hold b7. Now, the queen is also hitting b6 here. Knight c2, trying to drag the rook away from b6, putting the rook in an awkward square. So knight b4 is incoming. So rook e6 in advance, knight b4. Black is ahead of the game at the moment, but now there's a threat of queen a5, and in fact, how can black actually defend the d5 pawn here? That's a puzzle. We see king e8, yeah, just giving it up, queen a5. Once d5 goes, what we have is two connected passed pawns crashing through. d5 is about to go, and we've got two connected passed pawns. Taking c4 as well. Okay, loads of pawns are dropping now. g5 is dropping, but first d5, then taking. It's over, really. The queen is phenomenal here, supported by all these pawns. All of black's pawns, apart from b7, have dropped. So yeah, this is just absolutely crushing stuff now. So the bishop's trying to stave off d7 for a moment, but yeah, it's totally winning. So the pawns just crash through with potentially now d7 anyway. So the rook under promoting to a rook, classic Leela, and taking off there. It's absolutely winning. Absolutely, the pawns are just crashing through again. And Leela doesn't mind going to a single queen to deliver a checkmate pretty soon. Okay, so checkmate. So that's a pretty crushing game. Wasp was obliterated. Even h6 just didn't work, actually, as a tactical try. Earlier on, yeah, this f3, it seems all to be tactically working, even though there's a rook staring down that e file. f3 is possible. e3 is not really a liability, it seems, behind the scenes. Fantastic stuff behind the scenes in this one. Botvinnik style crush. I think a very, very instructive game, and I think this is starting to redefine some of the evaluations within what is played against the Ragozin variation. So this bishop f5 take d7 idea seems to be remarkably powerful by the evidence of this particular game. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks so much.